Mark 14, 1 through 11. Now the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread were only 2 days away, and the chief priests and the teachers of the law were looking for some sly way to arrest Jesus and kill him. But not during the feast, they said, or the people may riot. While he was in Bethany, reclining at the table in the home of a man known as Simon the leper, a woman came with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume made of pure nard. She broke the jar and poured the perfume on his head. Some of those present were saying indignantly to one another, "Why this waste of perfume? It could have been sold for more than a year's wages, and the money given to the poor." And they rebuked her harshly. "Leave her alone," said Jesus. "Why are you bothering her? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, and you can help them any time you want, but you will not always have me. She did what she could. She poured perfume on my body beforehand to prepare for my burial. I tell you the truth, wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her." Then Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went to the chief priests to betray Jesus to them. They were delighted to hear this and promised to give him money. So he watched for an opportunity to hand him over. This story is a favorite story from Holy Week. I think it's a beautiful story of just a love for Jesus that this woman has. And I think the culture reflects our culture too. When she pours this perfume on Jesus and anoints him for his burial unknowingly. I'm sure she didn't know that this had so much symbolism, but that wastefulness was really frustrating to some of the disciples. They thought it was a wasteful thing for her to do, to pour this expensive perfume worth a year's wages on Jesus. And I think that reflects our culture in a lot of ways. We want efficient, we want productive, we want to use our resources in the best way possible. And so I think we can relate. If we saw someone doing something similarly, we would have been like, what are they doing? They're wasting that. That is worth a lot of money. And Jesus, though, sees this sacrifice, sees this beautiful display of love and says that it's beautiful. And I love that. Jesus has never been about production, about efficiency, about saving money or doing things like that. He has always been one to stop and to pay attention, to not be efficient, to have these beautiful moments with people. And I love that he honors her in this way by saying it's beautiful and by saying that wherever the gospel is shared, she will be remembered. And she still is. The story is still told today. And I think this Holy Week, what I want to do is I want to spend some time wastefully. I think during this time where we're in quarantine, we try to fill up that time with productive things. I know a lot of people that are working on different projects or different hobbies or things that they've always wanted to do, but that's not always the best thing. What if we were just to spend some time doing nothing and just sitting in the presence of God? Or, what if we chose to use some of our money to give to a charity or to something else? Or I don't know, maybe God has put something else on your heart that other people might think is wasteful use of time or money or resources. But it's a display of love. So this week, how can we just display love in this extravagant way for Jesus? He deserves it, obviously. And as we go into Easter, we want to spend some time worshiping and praising him and sacrificing for him. And so one way you could do this is just spend some time unproductively being in his presence. You don't even have to read the Bible, you can. But the other day I was sitting on my porch and, I had been journaling, and then I just put everything down and just sat there. And as a mom, that time during Rory's naps is really precious. It's time where I can get stuff done. I only have a little bit of time but I felt compelled to just put everything down and just sit in God's presence and just soak in what he had for me in that moment, and just in my heart pour out love towards him. And normally I would be like, oh, this is a waste of time. I only have so much time while Rory's napping. But it was beautiful. And so in your own way this week, find a way to honor Jesus in some kind of way. I think it is just a beautiful thing, and Jesus called it beautiful. And I love that this is a story during Holy Week, that Jesus was anointed in this beautiful way by this woman. And I think it can give us opportunities during Holy Week to do the same. I hope you're having a great week. Easter is coming, and I'm looking forward to celebrating the rest of Holy Week with you all.